Hey everyone. Hope class is good. Don't really know what to say, but I hope it's enjoyable. I hope these presentations are great. I'm really, really sad I can't be there, but life gets in the way sometimes. Um, I'm in Panorama right now, and it's one of my best friend's bachelor parties. So it'll be Monday right now, Monday afternoon. Um, I think there's only a few possibilities. Number one, I'm dead. That's just a fact. Number two, I'd say I'm skiing. Or number three, I'm too hungover to ski, so we're sitting in the hot tub, something like that. Uh, yeah, there's six of us. That's six of us. Like we're childhood best friends. We haven't been in the same room together. I think since like 2013, 2014, we were trying to figure it out. So very real possibility I'm dead. And if this is my last will and testament, well, you know what happened. Little life lesson for you here. My best friend started dating my cousin about 8 years ago. I thought it'd be a 2 week kind of thing, and now they're getting married. So don't let your cousin don't let your best friend date your cousin, because here you are, and super. So, anyways, the um, the business, the proposal for this project that I did was a cold plunge. That was my thought. That was my um, belief that there really isn't that much. It's not really a commodified resource yet, but it certainly is a cultural um, asset that we have. We have cold. All right, Canada is known for cold. It is literally, we are one of the coldest countries statistically in the world. Like, yeah, if you fight for the top spot of the coldest place, that sort of thing. But we're in the top three, or three or five, however you want to rank that. We get some of the most snowfall. We have some of the most water in the world. We have one of the longest coastlines, I think, if not the longest coastline. Um, so we got a lot of water and we got a lot of cold. In the last few recent years, I'm sure everyone's heard of Wim Hof, right? So what he's done is essentially it's a breathing technique, and he's the Iceman, and he has developed a program how to how to train your mind to sort of get over these external factors. And there certainly is, a cold swimmer community, or a cold, cold cold bathers, however you want to say that. Netherlands, Poland, Finland, they certainly have had this in their culture a lot more than we do, and they've been doing it for a long time. So it's certainly not a new concept or a new device, mechanism, anything like that you would say. That being said, it's not really commercialized. I haven't seen it commercialized successfully in like a cold in a cold place. Like, yes, we do have our hot springs, but that's different. It's like it's relaxation. It's in you're in pools for the most part. So there's similar avenues, but I really think this market hasn't really been tapped into, simply because no one's packaged it together in an experience that's more enjoyable, or makes it a little bit more bearable, because it is quite an uncomfortable experience. If anyone's ever taken a cold shower, or if you've jumped in a frozen lake, whatever that is, it sucks. There's no way about that. But to make that experience better for your guests, I think is quite possible. So my proposal for this business would be at Bow Lake, somewhere like that. That they already have infrastructure there. It's already set up for guests. It's already, the roads there. There's already a parking lot. They already have the accommodation, all that set up. All that you would build is a sauna, literally right beside the lake. So that's the thing with the cold, of why it's definitely an adventurous thing, is because how do you warm up? Like, most people can be fine in that environment for a couple minutes. But if it's in the middle of winter or if it's not a nice day out, people aren't going to go do it simply because it's too hard to warm up. You do warm up, and you do. It is possible, but for the average person, that's a very, very tough sell. So that's why Bow Lake I chose, because it's the views. It's already accessible. It's already used, but they're closed for the winter. So yes, they get a lot of traffic in the summer, but I looked at it as somewhere that you could open up sort of an off-season activity to offer the weekend warrior, I guess, or the people that don't leave their car very far, but they want to experience the mountains, the ruggedness, that whole, oh my God, I'm in nature kind of feeling, which I know, go jump in a frozen pond or frozen lake, you're gonna go, oh my God, and you're not gonna forget that experience. So that was kind of my thought of how do you sort of bridge those middle grounds that's not really hit, because you have the extreme people, the people in our class, the people lots of us know that they're self-capable. They can go do all these things. They don't need any help. They don't want any help for the most part. Or you have the Asian tour buses that just churn people out, just go, 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 go. But there are a lot of people that either they kind of fall in that middle ground. Like maybe they want small group hikes, or maybe they are sort of self-sufficient, but they kind of want to do something on the edge. So for like my target demographic would be, the thrill, like calculated thrill seekers. So someone that would do like a bungee jump or a whitewater rafting, downhill biking, skiing. So that sort of, thrill seeker definitely would suit this kind of business of, and they would suit this kind of business, but also having the people that maybe this is the craziest thing they've ever done of their life, but it's only 500 yards from your car, so they're willing to try it. So essentially, simple business model. Go into the lake, literally for a couple of minutes, come out, sit in a sauna for 15 minutes, do that 2 or 3 times. That's it. Bow Lake, the Jimmy Simpson Hut, or Nimtaja Lodge, it's already set up. It already has all, there's already a physical place built, so you're not really creating anything else. You're not really cutting down any more trees in that area, so that was kind of why I thought that lake would work. Also, because it is such a large lake, having people go into it, I don't think would really affect the ecosystem there. It might, quite possibly. So that was part of like my whole, like your ethics, part of it of how it's going to impact your ecosystem, or what kind of negative effects of it. It would be literally the oils from your skin, or the hair products or body products going into the lake if there was enough people that would do it. So it's quite simply just put a cap on how many people you let go in the lake per day, or do it as an off-season activity. Because in the summer months, if you've ever been to this area, it's a zoo. People are absolutely everywhere. Buses are everywhere. People are literally running on top of each other. It's hilarious. So I think a lot of people would do it in the summer because it's a nicer time, but I certainly think it'd be more an off-season activity of wanting, because why are you going to want to sit in a sauna in the middle of summer? Some people would. I think a lot of people wouldn't though. So that was kind of my thought of being an off-season activity to kind of mitigate the effects of how many people are traveling to that area, because certainly you have like Peyto Lake and these other areas there that they're getting to their carrying capacity. Whether they're just going to keep bumping that number up and be like, no, we can pump more people through these areas or not. But to definitely just to cater to a market that isn't, you're not the extreme person and you're not the person that just sits on the couch. Like you want that middle ground. You want to go outside and you want to experience Canada. So the cultural asset is the cold. Why can we, like, how do you sell the cold? Which is kind of the premise from this, and why I've kind of thought it was like, oh, this is stupid. Like, why would people do this? Why would people pay for this? Yet, you look at the Wim Hof, you look at polar bear swims, you look at going even where I am right now, Panorama, I guarantee you we're going to be sitting in the hot tub and then we're going to jump out into the snow. something like that, right? So if you could package that product into experiences, Canada is kind of where I was going with why I think this would be just a cultural asset that really hasn't been utilized. The other thought I had was doing it like on the coast would be to do it like in the ocean. Ocean swimming is a thing, like without wetsuits. I think it's absolutely insane, the people that do it. And I've swam in the ocean a couple times. Let me tell you, I'm not in there for very long. So certainly, I don't think I would like. I can't see myself swimming for a half hour in the ocean, but I can see myself going in for 2 minutes, hopping out, going into a sauna, and I have done that before, and it's absolutely amazing. That experience you share with your friends is absolutely like it is something you will never forget. It literally takes your breath away. Like that's not not trying to make a joke, but like it's one of those things where it is such an easy thing to get into the water, but it is such a hard thing to convince yourself you can do it. When you hop into something that has ice around it, you literally think you're gonna die, and it's crazy. Your physiological response to it. There's shock proteins, so it's either heat or cold shock proteins, which we're studying more and more, and they're actually really beneficial to us because your body essentially uses all the good things, it eats all the bad cells it has, and it just essentially floods your system with adrenaline, and it just makes you like supercharged, turns everything on, uses all your resources you have, because you essentially think you're dying. And I mean, trust me, you will the first time or two, but as you sort of calm down and you relax a little bit, staying in there for like couple of minutes, I'm not talking 10, 15, 20, anything like that, just like a couple of minutes, and then you're out, and then you warm yourself up into a hot space. So you go to the two extremes, you're really cold and then you're really hot, so you're hitting both of those heat shock proteins. So from like a physical standpoint, it really helps with mental clarity. That's a big part of it. Your pH balance in your body helps regulate. Mental toughness, trust me, to get in there is very, very hard. And if you want a little test, you don't believe me, just turn your shower cold. The next time, have a nice warm shower, just at the end of it, just flip it cold, see what happens. All right, those wheels are gonna start spinning. So it's definitely a way just to kind of train your mind. And then lastly, it's the experience. I mean, things that take our breath away, we remember. Whether that's going really fast, going skiing, seeing something absolutely beautiful, seeing a bear, almost getting in a car accident, whatever that is, when you get that, right, you remember that experience, you'll never forget it. So that's kind of why I would choose a glacier-fed lake in the Rockies. The reason I chose that one specifically, well, the infrastructure was already set up, but then it's also connecting it with Jimmy Simpson. So I'm assuming you guys know a little bit about that place and like the history of that family. He's essentially one of the first guides in the Rockies to start taking people through that area. He first visited in the late 1880s, I believe, and he's like, yeah, this is where I'm gonna build a base one day. 25 years later, he built his cabin. That's where he had his family. Beautiful piece of land. Now it still operates as a lodge, as a hut, and it still holds weddings in the summers. It was built in the 1940s, so it relatively it stays the same. Like the hut that is there today, it still looks like it's from the 50s. So it's very it really hasn't changed at all, which is pretty cool. Nimtaja is it's a stony it's a First Nation Stony Plain word for pine marten, so that's kind of why he chose that name. And then also Bow, Bow River, Bow Lake, Bow Glacier, that's where the First Nations of the area would use the reeds on the sides of the rivers to build their bows. So there's a lot of connection to literally the history of Canada and tourism, and then also with the First Nations in that area. And then they used they used that pass for hundreds, thousands of years. I mean, we kind of can guess at how long, but they've been there for a long time. So if you created a product in this area more than just going and snapping a photo. I've been to this area many times in the summertime when I was guiding for G Adventures. Amazing stop, one of my favorites. You'd be there for maybe 20 minutes-ish, maybe a half hour if people were interested. But you go there, you look at the lake, you take a photo, and then you go like, okay, let's go, like on to the next one. So most people do that. Other people stay for the night. If they're staying there, usually, you go for a hike, that sort of thing. But most people that stay there, they really don't learn about the history. They don't get an experience. It's beautiful. They have a photo. And that's it. But if you're on a tour of the Rockies, you're gonna see 40 other lakes that are in the ballpark of, what's the most beautiful. When I say, Moraine Lake, Lake Louise, Bow Lake, Peyto, tell me what one's the best. And then you see more and more and more and more. You really, you need an experience there to ground you to that opportunity you had to experience that place. Jumping in a lake, that's gonna stand out. I guarantee it. And then also just kind of connecting with sort of the First Nations or the history of that area. Because essentially, look at the Parkway. Drive up there. The Parkway is, I think, one of the most beautiful stretches of road there is. I know people travel all around the world just to come there. It really is a special place, but the history of it, I think, is arguably as cool, but it's not really. Boards don't really share it that well. People kind of get it, and yeah, you can do interpretive hikes, or you can go, I don't know, talk about whatever it is, but when you actually get to experience something physically, on top of that, you can hear those stories, but they're actually going to connect with you. Specifically because you're connecting to the cold, right? So I was like, well, what's a cultural asset that Canada has that's unique? It's like, well, it's the cold. And it's like, no, the cold is the asset. It's not the mountain, it's not the tree, it's not the bird, it's not, it's not the moose, whatever it is. It's literally, it's the cold, because it's what's shared by all Canadians. And we've struggled through it, we've fought through it, we have certainly loved it at times. If it's a beautiful powder day when you're skiing, you've hated it at times. Maybe you've gotten frostbite. Maybe someone that's literally died from it. We don't have the snakes and the spiders that are going to come out and kill you at every turn. It's the cold. More people die from that than anything else in the nature, right? Which is pretty fascinating. But then also you go back, you have the Inuit people. They have 50 words for snow. Depending on kind of what sources you ask it from. So it's they have 50 words for snow, that's a lot of goddamn snow. So it was the connection to cold and what's always been here in Canada. And quite simply, it's the cold. So if you can sort of, sandwich that with a bunch of other experiences, a little bit of education of who was here, why is this significant? Why do we need to protect this area? Drinking water, anything like that. You can certainly educate people in this area, but it's having that extreme experience that they're going to remember. So that's why I chose cold plunging in the Rockies. You will see people do it here and there. I've seen lots of people jump in Lake Louise. I've jumped in, a lot of these lakes, but I don't know any company or business that has actually set up come experience this. So kind of almost the same model of a hot spring, but could you do it where you're actually in the lake? That's kind of where I don't know if it would be possible, but I certainly think if you were outside a park, it wouldn't matter. Or if it was, if there was enough water moving through it, I don't think it would matter. But that one specifically, I think, would be absolutely incredible if you could set something up like that there. That's why I chose it, and I dare everyone. If you never jumped in a, if you never literally broke ice and then jumped in the water, you got to do that at some point. Highly recommend that. If you think this was just a silly presentation or whatever, or it's just oh, it's just cold, doesn't really mean anything, when you have a shower tomorrow or tonight, whenever it is, right then, 30 seconds cold. Not coldish. I mean, if you don't start to hyperventilate, it's not cold enough. All right, so literally turn it cold. Like, you can sort of baby steps into it. Don't just go from freaking hot to freaking cold. You won't like that. And don't just try to hop in a freezing cold shower. If you can do that, you're a savage. But like, literally just try, sort of baby steps, get it nice and cold, and just see how long you can last, and just kind of watch your thoughts, see what happens, feel the energy after, and kind of let me know what you think. Enjoy class, guys. I'm sitting having a beer.